Chapter 10. Maps and Maths. Hello again, Lydia, Draco smiled. I hope you've enjoyed looking around the school. It's incredible, she enthused. It's a whole different world. I've loved it. Thank you ever so much. He showed her into his office. Ambrose, Harry and Hermione were already there. They beamed at her. Hi, everyone, Lydia grinned, moving to stand between Hermione and Uncle Ambrose. Hermione grinned back. You look like you've had a good time, Lydia. Oh, it's so wonderful here, she gasped. I wish I really was starting next year. I thought, Ambrose interjected, that you might be interested to know what we have found from the diary so far. Lydia nodded vigorously. Hermione has done some brilliant detective work, Draco said, finding out about the runes that we used to write the later entries in the diary. Hermione nodded her acknowledgement of his praise. And all of us, Draco continued, with a smile and an inclination of his head towards Ambrose, have decoded the clues in the runes. He talks about the great enemy, as he calls it. Hermione took up the story. He then goes on to describe a kind of protection against this enemy, which creates a safe place. It seems this safe place is where he will be able to turn muggles into witches and wizards, safe from any interference by his enemy. What sort of protection? Lydia asked. It will be something of the old magic, Draco explained. It will involve rituals and I'm fairly sure places which are special to the great enemy. There are clues which point to the places. We think we've worked a few of them out. He walked around his office, his wand aloft. A disk of light formed, filling most of the room and hovering about waist height. With a complex movement of his wand, the disk filled with a map of Britain and Ireland. Someone knocked at the office door. It's just me, came Ron's voice from the other side. Hermione sighed in exasperation, but smiled. Come in, Draco called. Ron stumbled into the office, looking flustered. I hope I'm not too late, he said, nodding at the map. Johnny Twycross came in with a couple of muggle baiters, just as I was about to leave. We've just started, Harry said. And you've heard the basics from Hermione. We're just about to start putting in the clues we think we've solved. Oh, just in time then. Hi everybody, by the way. Hi Lydia, he said with a grin, standing next to her to view the map. The others nodded and smiled. We think we've worked out the following points, Draco continued. Firstly, Azkaban. He swirled the tip of his wand, and a 5-pointed star appeared, which floated across the map and came to rest at a point in the North Sea. I've got an update on that, Ron announced. They searched the grounds and found a pentagram burnt into a rock, not far from the burial ground on the island. Anything unusual about it? Harry asked. Nothing, except that it was burnt into the rock and they couldn't detect any magic. Which I think is what we were expecting, Draco pointed out. We can't yet uncover the signs of the old magic with our normal detection charms. It's certainly suggestive, Harry pondered. Secondly, Draco went on, we discovered yesterday that Hagrid had found a circle of luminous moss outside the gates of Hogwarts a few nights ago. Another star sprang from his wand tip and floated up to Scotland on the map. The third clue, Draco continued, we believed to be Godric's Hollow, where, according to this morning's Daily Prophet, a sinkhole was discovered, which the Muggle newspapers assure us is not geologically possible. Another star glided from his wand tip to the West Country on the map. 3 points, scattered far and wide across this map, Harry said with an air of exasperation. The next clue, we think, Draco added, seems to refer to some standing stones somewhere in Ireland. Even I know that standing stones are not exactly rare in the Emerald Isle, Ambrose said. True, Draco admitted. We need some way to narrow it down. I think we probably have a few days before Granville places his next marker. It would be nice if we could predict where he'll be and try to catch him, Ron said. Before that, Draco said, I'd like to go to Godric's Hollow to test some theories I have on detecting and removing old magic. That would be useful, Harry admitted. But predicting the next point is crucial to catching Granville and putting a stop to all this. As you said, we may have no more than a few days. Excuse me, Lydia piped up. Is there a way you could tilt the map up so I can see it better, please? Of course, Draco replied. With a flick of his wand, the map shrank slightly and tilted until it was almost vertical, reaching from the floor to the ceiling. You think there is a pattern? Ambrose asked. They're spread far and wide, Harry frowned at the stars. And there are only 3 points, Hermione added. If you were going to protect a safe place, Lydia began thoughtfully, you'd surround it with a circle, possibly. Circles are considered to be particularly strong in old magic, Draco admitted. But we'd need a lot more points to see it, Ron said. No, Lydia shook her head. 3 points describe a circle. That's maths. 3 points on a circumference describe a circle. Is there any way you can draw a circle on the map and fit it to these 3 points? Hermione drew out her wand and made some complicated movements. A red circle appeared on the map. It wriggled around, growing, shrinking and sliding around until it matched the 3 stars and linked them perfectly. They all stared open-mouthed at the circle on the map. That goes pretty close to where the Ministry is, said Harry. I'm beginning to think all these clues point to the great enemy being Dumbledore. Godric's Hollow, Azkaban, Hogwarts. They all have connections with Dumbledore. They have connections with most wizards and witches, Harry, Hermione pointed out. In fact, the line is near Little Whinging. It could easily point to you. You were born in Godric's Hollow. You work at the Ministry. You send people to Azkaban. And Hogwarts you called your first home. Dumbledore was head teacher here. He lived in Godric's Hollow, Harry counted. He interviewed several people in Azkaban and spent lots of time at the Ministry. One of the first things I said to you, Harry, Ambrose said deliberately, was that the diary had told me that you were someone of whom Granville needed to be wary. Harry, said Ron, look where the line goes in Ireland. Carrowmore. Carrowmore, said Hermione. Isn't that where you and Harry had your first case together? The Standing Stones, Ron directed his comment at Harry like a slap across the face. That would fit, Draco almost shouted. These places all have associations with the old magic. Hogwarts and Azkaban in the magic which hides and protects them. Little Whinging and Godric's Hollow in the magic your mother made to protect you, Harry. And Carrowmore has standing stones, you say? Standing stones are often thought as doorways to the other world. It all fits. And the circle is just maths, Ambrose said with a proud smile at Lydia. OK, the plan is we go to Godric's Hollow, try out Draco's ideas on detecting old magic, then go to Carrowmore, and hopefully get there before Granville and try to stop him, Harry announced. You and I could go straight to Carrowmore and the rest catches up, Ron ventured. No, Harry decided after a few seconds' thought. I think I'd like to be with Draco when he's doing his tests, in case there's anything we can learn from them. Try to get a feel for old magic as well, maybe. Well then, I could go ahead on my own, one suggested. There's no rush, Harry pointed out. It seems like each point is taking a few days. We have plenty of time to go to Godric's Hollow first. We have no idea if Carrowmore is going to be next, Hermione interjected. He might have made that point first. We don't even know for certain that there will ever be a point at Carrowmore. It's not exactly on the circle in any case. I was wondering about that, Lydia said. Where did that map come from, Professor Malfoy? How do you mean, Lydia? Draco asked. Well, is it from a map in a book or from the world itself? She clarified. I took it from an up-to-date atlas, Draco explained. It should be accurate. The thing is, atlases are flat and the world isn't, Lydia said. Draco thought about this for a moment. He nodded with dawning understanding. Atlases have to distort the distances a bit to make it flat. A globe can't have the exact measurements and be flat, because the measurements just wouldn't add up. Cylindrical projection, said Ambrose. It is based on the concept of wrapping a flat page around the globe as a cylinder, then shining a light from the middle of the globe. Where the shadows of features on the globe land on the cylinder, you mark them on the map. Then you can fold it out and have it flat. Blank faces surrounded him. This is why Greenland looks huge, because it is near the North Pole, and Africa, which is huge, does not look much bigger because it is on the equator, he tried. Comprehension began to dawn on their faces. So if you could use the world or a globe, it'd be more accurate, Lydia concluded. Draco made the map disappear, then started again. He redrew the map. This time it was slightly domed. He sent stars to the known points, and fitted the circle to those points. He even tilted it again to make it easier to see. Hermione walked up close to it, and looked at where the line passed over County Sligo in Ireland. It's still not exactly on Carrowmore, she grumbled. There would always be a trade-off, Draco explained, between making a perfect circle and finding points relevant to the great enemy. Carrowmore still looks like a good bet, especially as it would also fit the clue in the journal. All right, Hermione conceded. But if it is Carrowmore, can we please recognise that this means Harry is the enemy? Draco snorted with laughter. The others looked at him. Sorry, he said, you sounded just like my father. Hermione, Harry, and even Ron laughed at this. Anyway, Harry called the room to order. Hermione, are you coming with us to Godric's Hollow? I can't, Harry, she groaned. There's a court case in front of the Wizengamot tomorrow, and I still have prep work to do. Just Ron, Draco, and Ambrose with me, then. Lydia complained. Harry, Ambrose began. Lydia will be fine staying here, he explained. I'm less worried about her than about us, Ambrose countered. Without Hermione or Lydia, how are we going to manage if we need rare commodities such as logic or common sense? Ambrose smiled quizzically and hoisted an eyebrow high on his forehead. I can't put her at any risk, Harry said. I'll be fine, Lydia chipped in. I shall take full responsibility for her, Ambrose assured Harry. You're in the wizarding world now, Ambrose, Harry said. Outside your jurisdiction, so to speak. Ambrose snorted at this, clearly unconvinced. To be fair, Harry, Hermione interjected as Ambrose was drawing breath, if we hadn't had Lydia, we might still not know we were looking for a circle. And we probably wouldn't suspect Carrowmore had anything to do with it, Ron added. If you're prepared to take one muggle, Ambrose said, why not two? Anyway, Lydia is my carer. She tells me when I should care about things. Lydia looked up at her uncle. He smiled down and nudged her playfully. Well, okay, Harry conceded. You have been incredibly helpful, Lydia. Sorry for trying to leave you behind. You can come. Yay! Lydia yipped, bouncing on her toes. How do we get there? Ambrose inquired. Train or sherry boom? There isn't a train, Harry explained. Would you want to go all that way in Hagrid's mobile beach hut? Ambrose smiled. Perhaps not. Apparition? Draco suggested. I've heard of that, Lydia said. Isn't it supposed to be a bit scary? Yes, Harry admitted, certainly to start with, but there's no need. It's a perk of being head aura that I can authorise my own port keys. Do you have anything, Draco? Draco cast around his office and fished a piece of parchment from a wastebasket. How about this? There's nothing written on it. It's had some pumpkin juice spilt on it, though. It's fine, Harry smiled. Just needs to be big enough that we can all touch it. I'll say goodbye, then, said Hermione. See you later, Ronald. Okay, you don't need to make it sound like a threat, Ron complained, looking startled. You can use the fireplace in my study, Hermione. Through there, Draco pointed the way. Thanks, Draco. Good luck, all of you, she said, and left through the door he had indicated. Harry laid the crumpled parchment on Draco's desk and tried to smooth it out. Directing his comments to Lydia and Ambrose, he explained, I will turn this parchment into a port key. All you have to do is touch it when I tell you to, and it will take us where we are going. I thought you couldn't disappear from Hogwarts, Lydia frowned. You can't disapparate, but you can use the Flu network or an authorised portkey, which mine automatically are, Harry explained.